Now let's look at Maslow's theory from a management perspective. First of all, the physiological needs. Well, wages must satisfy employees' basic need to survive. And employees must also have sufficient breaks. In other words, the work can not be continuous. The work it should recognize that they're humans and then will need a break. They need an opportunity to relax and regain their composure and regain their strength. So the physiological needs of work must be recognized by management. The effort that the employees are expending within the workplace must be recognized, and wages must compensate them. They must enable them to survive, to live, to pay for accommodation and food and shelter and clothing and so on. But it must also enable them to function in terms of their own physiological requirements. They must have breaks from the work. They must have an opportunity to have a drink and to rest and to regain their strength, as I said. Safety needs. Well, employees are working in a safe environment. They need to work in a safe environment. They need to have job security and perhaps some additional benefits, perhaps healthcare benefits or insurance, or knowledge that if they're ill or away from the workplace, they will still receive some remuneration. So they need to have some sort of safety factored in, and management, if they supply this, will be seen as more cooperative with the workers. There will be more loyalty on the part of the workers, and one of the needs within the hierarchy will be checked. It'll be completed. So these are the first two that management need to recognize. But the management should then move on to looking at providing a friendly environment and a sense of belonging, a sense of trust in the individual, and a sense of belonging that the individual is valued and respected for his or her contribution to the organization. Esteem needs can also be mentioned here, because employees feel valued perhaps by recognizing their achievements. They feel valued by the organization. The organization recognize what the employees have done, what their achievements are, and they have congratulated them and thanked them and perhaps given them some reward, a bonus perhaps. And they feel that they have some esteem within the organization. And self-actualization, well, provide employees the opportunity to reach their full potential. Keep employees motivated by providing them with appropriate challenges to accompany their needs. So the organization is recognizing that some individuals will have will want a more challenging existence. They will want to problem solve. They want to show their individual talents. They want to achieve. They want to be recognized for what they've done. They have this desire to constantly, in a sense, evolve within the job. And management should really be able to accommodate this by allowing the workers who have the skills and the abilities to do this to rise up and perhaps become managers or line managers or departmental managers, whatever. But they're able to rise up through the organization and gain the confidence to complete the tasks that are expected of them and be recognized for having those abilities. In this case, they become self-actualized. Now, concerns with the Maslow hierarchy. Well, some needs have an adverse effect. For example, the need to socialize may result in different behaviors from different individuals. It could be the need to socialize jeopardizes productivity, or it could be the need to socialize perhaps may lead to conflicts and disagreements within the workplace, which could be adverse. So The fact that there is the opportunity to socialize is perhaps desirable, but there are risks associated with it also. And individual behavior tends to react to more than one need. Sometimes the workers will want better salaries, better wages, but they will also want security, and that'll come as a package. The two will come as one requirement. They will want more remuneration and their jobs safeguarded. And we often see within the trade union system, for example, the trade unions making claims on organisations for more remuneration for their members and job security. So the two elements are combined. So sometimes behaviour tends to react to more than one need. And there's also the problem of how do individuals know when a need has been satisfied? Well, in the context of, let's say, security, job security, it could be that the management issue a contract and say that their jobs are guaranteed for the next year. That may indicate to them that they have achieved their security, so they may move on to the next level. In the absence of that, it's difficult for them to know if they have got job security. They may be working day to day, they may be working week to week. They're not sure if they're going to have a job in a month's time or in a week's time. It's difficult for them to know how secure their jobs are. And likewise with this, the social need. How does the individual measure this? It's presumably done by introspection, by thinking that the place they work is an enjoyable place. It's one that's nice to go and work there because they've got friends there. But only the individuals can gauge that. And then it's also the case that friends within the workplace may leave to go to work elsewhere because they've been offered perhaps more salary or more wages elsewhere. So that social framework has been partially destroyed. Does that mean then that the person who has engaged in work because they have completed the first two stages of Maslow and moved on to the social stage will now have to regress and go back to the second stage, which is the security stage, because in a sense they can't go on because there is no social stage. Their friends have left. So individuals have to try and work out whereabouts they are within the hierarchy of needs. The model does not address the behaviour of a wide range of individuals. For example, working for low pay for the sake of future benefits. There's a wide range of behaviour that we may encounter within work. Sometimes people will work for very little because they enjoy the ambience of the workplace, they like the environment in which they work. So they're satisfied, not self-satisfied, but they're not self-actualized, I should say. They're contained within that one level, but in a sense they're quite happy within that one level. So they're working for perhaps very little remuneration, but they take out their enjoyment of the experience of working there, and that's what they appreciate. So they're not moving up this hierarchy of needs, not necessarily at least. Anything perhaps above it that they can easily achieve is a bonus. There's little evidence to support the model. Maslow undertook his research amongst the middle class communities in the UK and the USA, but there hasn't really been tested. It's not really an empirical model, one that is subjected to testing, and in a sense some of the other motivational models have eaten into its territory. They have offered alternative explanations, and some of those other models have become highly respected within this area. Maslow's theory has been greatly acknowledged amongst many managers in finding ways to motivate their employees. Having said that, it's a very simple, straightforward model. We can see it in terms of our 5 steps, and movement to the next level means the completion of the previous level, and so on. So it's a very straightforward model to understand, and clearly the issues addressed can be recognized within the working environment. Clearly the workers will need adequate remuneration and compensation for going to work so that they can pay their household bills and so on. Clearly that's a most basic need, and that's the equivalent to the physiological need that we can see in other contexts. But it's not really an empirical model, as I said earlier. It's one, however, managers can recognize, and it's an easy one to carry around with us, an easy one to understand. However, there have been studies carried out which do not support the model. Some suggest that there are all sorts of issues, some of which we've talked about in this video. For example, not all the stages are equally weighted. Not all the stages are important. Not all the phases in the model, the 5 phases, are equally important. And it could also be that there's retrogression. People move to one level and then move back, and have to move back because insecurity issues further back may cause an issue, or remuneration may fall over a longer period, and so on, and they'll find that they are constantly moving up a step and down a step and so on. So it can be somewhat more sophisticated and more complicated as a consequence. There is a lack of scientific support, but this is the first theory that people are exposed to. It's one that we come across immediately when we consider motivation in the business area, business and management area. It's a fundamental model. It is a neat model. It does offer us some insight into motivation. It's just that we have to treat it somewhat more sophisticatedly. We have to realize, as I said earlier, not all the stages in the hierarchy are equal. There is movement upwards and downwards. It's difficult to test the model empirically. It's difficult to perform scientific tests on the model. And different stages have to be recognized by individuals as being complete before they move on. And not all individuals can recognize when stages are complete. So it is much more complicated than it looks. But at the same time, it does offer us a very good opening introduction to motivation within organizations. So that's all we'll talk about in this session. So let's leave it at that and say thank you for watching.